I didn't expect that, man. I'm like I had one of the incubators, someone I trust massively, and he always gives me the scoop. He's like, I'm gonna quote what he said. Quote, I can't believe Sam Bankman-Fried and his high-flying, hyper-institutional team could be that dumb. So for anyone that doesn't know, there's fear that Alameda could be significantly more levered than we would like. And that could cause a cascade of liquidations. Kyle, are you worried?
Literally 30 seconds ago, I wasn't worried, and then one of my researchers just wrote me right now and said you cannot withdraw stables or BTC from FTX right now. So now I'm worried. What the
Yeah,
fuck?
man, I got this. I called my team. I'm like, guys, can you try to withdraw? Literally just before the show, 3 minutes ago, because I saw the news that you can't withdraw from FTX. I'm like, is that just congestion? Is delayed? Is that rumors? Because they said may not be able to withdraw. So I'm like, why may? Like maybe if someone's withdrawing 100 mil, you can't, but anything below you can. And my team withdrew just a small amount of money. I'm talking about in the thousands, less than 10k, less than 5k, I think, and it still didn't work.
Wow, that's
That we're
man.
talking about FTX, man. Remember how the day when the liquidations were happening, everyone was talking about how, things look really worrying, but FTX and Binance should be fine. Remember those discussions? Like, yeah,
Yep.
FTX, my team is like, even my team, like Mario, FTX and Binance, you're fine, maybe. And then they mentioned another couple of names, but everybody else are worried about. And now when things were green, the markets look good, things look relatively stable. I know you're a bit more, you're less optimistic than I am, Kyle. You get this news. So like in my books, I'm not a fee mongerer at all. And I never, I rarely FOMO and I rarely, freak out. But that is concerning. So what do you know, Kyle? Do you want to give an overview for anyone that doesn't know in the audience what happened, what triggered it?
I know that SBF has been attempting to do a lot of lobbying with the regulators, and obviously the regulation, he's severely misled when it comes down to the way that the space should be regulated. So what I did do is last night I listened to the Bankless podcast between SBF and Eric Voorhees. Have you heard that one yet?
I haven't. Give us
No,
a summary.
that's not exactly relevant to the point tonight. But what is relevant is that SBF is really digging into the lobbying of the regulators, and from what I understand, he was doing something that was probably very unfavorable to Binance, and my guess was probably that he's trying to, you know, become number one and take out Binance by creating unfavorable regulations towards CZ, and then CZ found out and said, "Nah, this is not going to go well." And so now we have this war.
So Kyle, do you think what triggered the tweet from CZ? Because I read it twice earlier today. Um, I haven't. Okay, I haven't personally spoken to anyone at Binance Labs. My team has, and they've confirmed that what CZ said about FTX talking shit behind their back to regulators is, at least according to them, true. This is a serious concern for them. But is that what triggered the tweet? Because I think CZ did mention Celsius as well in the tweet. Like we learned from Celsius. Is it the regulatory issue, or is it concerns with Alameda's leverage and FTX's liquidity position?
I don't think it's like, come on, let's be real here. SBF has he's on like the Forbes rich list, so I don't think that so there's this pinwheel kind of idea where, like, you mint these FTT tokens out of thin air, and then you can leverage against them and take out a loan, and then and borrow more stable coins against them, and then rinse, wash, repeat this whole kind of cycle. And that's where the Alameda kind of allegations have come from. But I don't think that there's I don't think the insolvency thing is such an issue. I think that it's really an issue of SBF doing something behind, like really trying to take out, from a regulatory perspective, Binance. That's what this is about.
Just to explain what you just mentioned, just for the audience, the concern there is Alameda's holding a whole bunch of FTT tokens, which are the FTX token. And obviously there's, I don't know if you can call it conflict of interest, but they're holding other tokens as well within their ecosystem where they don't have the liquidity to be able to liquidate them, and they can create many tokens. They've created those tokens. So they're sitting on a lot of these tokens in their balance sheets, and then they're using those assets as collateral to get loans. So this is where, and the leverage, the numbers I've seen are pretty concerning. So I explained it well, Kyle. Yeah, just for the audience to understand. Essentially, they're using tokens they have from their ecosystem that don't have that much liquidity in some cases, or they're their own tokens or within their own ecosystem to be able to borrow money, and they've used that money to invest in the space. So that makes them very vulnerable if the market corrects. Similar in some ways to Celsius. Is that right?
Yeah, I guess so. But I guess so. I just don't know. You have to think about the amount of volume that happens. Like, so that
Hold on, hold on, bro.
like,
Hold on, guys. Yeah, there's a tweet just now. Someone sent it to me. CZ just tweeted this. Fucking insane. CZ just tweeted him. So 4 minutes ago, CZ tweeted this. This afternoon, FTS asked for our help. There is a significant liquidity crunch. To protect users, we signed a non-binding LOI intending to fully acquire FTX.com.
Yeah, if you look
and help
at
cover.
Holy I have to
BNB
jump
token
in
is
here.
skyrocketing.
Holy shit.
Wow. BNB token is flying right now. It just went from like 326 to 364.
What
which
is?
token?
BNB going through the
Yeah,
roof.
I've been bullish BNB.
Hold on, you guys. Just before we go bullish, just to understand, we signed a non-binding LOI intending to fully acquire FTX.com. Jesus.
Well, Mario, I used to be a lawyer. It's a non-binding letter of intent. Don't forget it.
Okay, can you explain more what that is and what that means, why you've made that statement?
Well, a letter of intent is the intention, a written document where they intend to probably acquire FTX. But a letter of intent is just a declaration of intention, and it's non-binding. So let's not get too euphoric about it.
Okay, so I'm not euphoric. I'm more surprised. Go ahead.
I guess that also probably means that you can write a letter of intent without like SBF having anything to do with it, right?
Yep.
Essentially, it's like yeah, you have to be very careful here with the language as CZ's probably pissed because of the regulation thing, and he could have just created a letter of intent and sent it off to SBF's email or texted to him.
Kyle, that's not how it works. The implication is it's a non-binding but signed letter of intent. It's still not binding,
it was.
But it's not called a it's not called a non-binding LOI if it's not countersigned.
Wait, it was signed by both parties.
You wouldn't. It's not called a non-binding LOI. It's called an offer letter. It would be an offer letter non-binding LOI. If he says he sent out a non-binding LOI, it's a signed non-binding LOI. It's just not binding, like every LOI is.
So Fidgetal, can you explain to me the process and what that means exactly? How that would work for a non-binding LOI?
Most deal flows go from like a bullet point, like proffer letter, then it goes to a term sheet, then it goes to a non-binding LOI, then it goes to a semi-binding term sheet, and then you go full contract. A non-binding LOI is not just an offer letter or a one-sided term sheet. It's called non-binding because either side can back out based on certain terms and conditions. But a non-binding LOI, if represented as such, is something duly signed by both parties, but can be backed out.
Kyle, you've been in this space for a long time, and I don't know who else from the speakers. I think Fidgetal, you have as well from memory. I've been in this space since 2017, so I've seen a bunch of things. Been watching this space since 2015. Within 24 hours, from everything just another day to the biggest exchange signing a non-binding LOI with the second or the third. Is FTX? Was it second or third? It was second, no? Do you know, guys? I'm just googling it now.
Sorry, I'm just reading this tweet. Okay, so just so I can get more context.
FTX is third. So the first, I thought FTX was bigger than Coinbase. They're very close. Coinbase and FTX are very close in terms of volume. I don't know about market cap. But anyway, you've got so let's look at volume. FTX is just a second. That's last 24 hours. So probably they've frozen. So it was like maybe first before that. You've got the biggest exchange signing an LOI or non-binding LOI with the second biggest exchange like that within hours.
Just a Tuesday in the crypto space, Mario.
No, but bro, like I don't. Is Alex here yet? I can't wait for Alex to come in. Go ahead, King.
So basically, the non-binding LOI it's just to alleviate fear. A non-binding LOI is just that. It's not binding. It's like as if Mario, you and I agreed, hey Mario, I'll buy your punk for $50K. Sound good? But if I'm not so sure I like it in like a day or two, maybe we can pull that back. And so like it's not binding binding at all. It's like we kind of agreed to a price, we both signed it, but like it's not legally binding. We can both pull out of it, no problem. So what likely
Yeah, but
happened
generally,
is,
but go ahead, sorry.
no worries. So what basically happened is CZ, in my opinion, was livid with U.S. entities, not regulatory bodies, but actually U.S. exchanges, because he's done nothing but support and help bring them up like into existence, and he's been shafted completely by them. He's got FTX, he's got Sol, he's got FTT, he's got all the FTX cryptos being traded on Binance, but none of them are being reciprocated or traded on FTX.
Hey,
So he was livid.
sorry, SBF just tweeted too 15 minutes ago saying he confirmed this actually that yeah, Binance would acquire
Yeah,
FTX.
it would have to be confirmed by
pending.
both parties to be a non-binding LOI. Both of them signed it. It just doesn't mean the deal has to go through. So basically what it allows is it allows the fear that's currently in the crypto space to be alleviated. Now CZ can go ahead and sell the rest of his FTT tokens, and no one's really worried that FTX is going to go under, because if they do go under, who's going to come save them? CZ has already agreed to. So now it seems like Binance is the savior of FTX when they were the ones who put FTX in the precarious situation caused by FTX's own actions. So it's like, it's a very interesting situation because FTX caused their demise, but then Binance pushed the envelope by not being reciprocated, given support, and then ended up being the savior in the end. So very
It's like
funny full circle
like a
situation.
hostile takeover.
That's exactly what it was. If it was in the
This,
stock
this,
market, you could equate it to a
yeah.
hostile takeover. But
Well,
in
If
this situation,
they package it
no
as a
different.
friendly takeover, of course, because
if you guys have anyone listening to this, if you guys want to spend some really quality time watching an epic series from the History Channel, watch The Men Who Built America. This kind of shit used to happen. I mean, we're talking about the biggest titans of industry. You know, the Rockefellers and the Rothschilds and the Morgans. Like, this stuff used to happen back when America was was growing and going through industrial revolution. This kind of stuff used to happen all the time. It is a wild like docu-series. I highly suggest that you watch it. This is exactly what's happening right now. This is wild.
The men who built America, yeah.
Yeah, The Men Who Built America from the History Channel. Phenomenal.
So can you explain what? So how do you think this went down? I don't think it was all planned from the beginning. CZ doesn't, he's very careful about his reputation. Do you think that was, that was a possibility from when?
It could have been planned. It could have been planned. Like CZ could have had it could have been planned.
I think it may have been planned from CZ's side with how infuriated he became with FTX, but I don't think it was planned from FTX's side. This is not how you'd hand over the company at all.
I think that the final straw in this was the 3 commas thing that just happened, where the bot had the API tax, and this was just like a loose leaf in this. And then I started reading into 3 commas a lot last night and using that bot. Like, they were trading more than what they had behind the scenes, and so they were completely over leveraged. And that API attack, I think, was a weakness within 3 commas. It wasn't within FTX because it was happening within multiple different exchanges that 3 commas was partnered with. So there's a lot more to this. I was digging on this for 3 hours last night.
I'm just reading the tweet as well. So what could that mean for the space, guys? So I look at it as, I'm seeing how the market is responding right now. FTX token obviously bounced back from the lows pretty quickly. You've got in the last hour, the market responded massively nice. So you got Ethereum in the last hour went up 6%, Bitcoin over 3%. So that's fucking crazy how fast this is moving. So that at least shows that the possibility of further liquidations that wasn't chased. Let me see messages from the team. I'm just having a look now if there's any insider info.
Well, and while you're looking, Mario, real quick, if I can, I think so this is not, everybody on the stage is far more versed in this than me, and I'm definitely learning even as we go from the people on the stage as it relates to sort of the billionaire games that are being played. In fact, even yesterday I was learning a lot as it was going, because I'm not as weaved into that world. What I will say is, from the understanding from what I can see from this thing, which I think was probably what would be important to everybody in the room as well. We certainly are excited. I mean, this is fun to talk about and kind of like see how, again, the billionaire games are being played and who's doing what. And I think there's a lot of pieces to put together here. I think the important thing here, to me, if I'm reading it correctly, is it actually brings some level of relief to the market for people who were worried about getting their money off. So, there are people who were worried about where this is going to end up in the unrest of the space. It does provide a little bit of a shelf for us to have a little bit more of a soft landing. it could be seen as a hostile takeover and a ceasefire all at the same time in some degrees, which is kind of funny to kind of pair those things together. But what I think it means is that, and the markets are responding in kind, is that, people were really, really nervous about this yesterday and the direction it was going. And I think for the average person who maybe has, a few hundred, a few thousand, whatever it is, dollars on the platform, you now feel like you're a little bit more have a safe landing or a softer landing, which I think is huge for everybody on the whole, whether people understand the ins and outs of it or not, which frankly, I'm versed on part of it, but not the whole piece like some of the other folks on stage. But I will say, for just a person who is an average trader or just sort of an average investor, this is a really positive piece of news, at least from what I'm reading, because it tells me that I'm a little bit safer there.
The withdrawals from FTX obviously Kyle showed how concerned he was. The gentleman, the person that I told you messaged me earlier that he said he's slightly worried. He didn't even say he was worried when Celsius got liquidated. He wasn't worried when the whole Luna fiasco. This is the first time, I'm talking about 10 minutes ago, just before the show, he said, hey, I'm actually slightly worried, which is, for me, when this gentleman says I'm slightly worried, makes me extremely worried. But that was before this announcement. I'm just looking at my portfolio. It's fucking insane how much money I lost earlier today and how much money I just made in the last 20-30 minutes. It's insane. These guys just control my entire net worth is just based on these guys' fucking decisions. Kyle, I hate being a pawn, man, and I feel like a pawn right now. Anthony, Anon, go ahead, guys.
Yeah, I was just going to say, touching on Steve's point, this is a great announcement for kind of consumer relief psychologically, but we still have to really underline, italicize, and bold that non-binding. This is the illusion of relief, because at any moment in time, like, some horrible things could happen real quick. So, it is bullish, but it's just a lot of speculation right now, right?
No. Look, you've got both of them tweeting about it. I don't think their whole rep is on the line. CZ takes CZ didn't liquidate his Luna holdings when it collapsed because of reputational risk. So I was talking to the team about it earlier today. Anon, go ahead, bro.
Yeah, I was just going to reiterate similar points as Steve and Anthony, that there does seem to be a level of reassurance for, average retail consumers and investors, especially because when FTX and CZ and whoever else have put so much into marketing and advertising over the past few years, people that aren't as educated or experienced in crypto, like myself, like Steve, admittedly, we just take it at face value, like, oh, this is an exchange, I can buy crypto here, it must be safe. When in reality, retail consumers can be used as collateral damage, and we're just an afterthought. So I think that seeing some level of reconciliation here today, or some sort of positive progress to bring some sort of peace between the two exchanges, or with the situation at hand, right, the resolution that is being put on the table, that should provide a level of reassurance. But to Anthony's point, like, this kind of shows some of the fallacies or some of the inequalities of crypto in the first place that I think prevent a lot of people from considering it, is they hear about these crazy volatility and that these billionaires are just kind of controlling all of the whole ecosystem, or basically all of our wallets, like, in theory. And for someone who doesn't have disposable income, why would you take that risk?
Yeah, man. Yeah. I'm just, Kyle, are you also digging into all the fucking messages you're getting right now and everyone is updating on the situation? Is there any new developments, man, live now? We can share them.
What's going to be interesting to see is, like, where's this liquidity crunch coming from? Because was there mismanagement of funds? As far as everyone else knew, SPF was uber loaded, right? So this is really weird. Like, what is going on?
How levered? Yeah. Like, how levered? How big of an impact? So, do you know much about the relationship between Alameda and FTX?
I know that the SPF started Alameda, and Alameda as a hedge fund.
No, sorry. Do you know not the? I don't know if I said it wrong. The connection between Alameda and FTX, not SPF. I don't know if I said SPF by accident. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. Alameda, the SPF is the connection between the two of them. SPF started Alameda. Alameda is a hedge fund. They leverage trade big time, and they're also market make on FTX as well. But they're leverage traders. They are a hedge fund. So that's
But what I mean is that I just tell me if this is true. What I understand is that FTX is under no legal obligation. It's not required to bail out Alameda under any circumstances. However, obviously they're linked reputationally because of SBF. Number one. Number two, if Alameda gets liquidated, gets a margin call and doesn't have the liquidity, then it will have to liquidate its FTT tokens. Plus FTX will get hit reputationally. So Alameda getting fucked will end up severely harming FTX.
Yeah.
Now the question is, Binance acquired FTX. So Alameda is still a completely separate entity, completely unrelated to this deal by the looks of it, correct?
Yeah.
So why is Binance acquiring FTX? Like acquiring the whole fucking exchange, the main entity, rather than Alameda. Like how bad is the situation for like this within hours? How bad is it for FTX to just go to? They asked again. CZ said FTX asked us for help. So how bad is it down there for FTX to go to Binance, their arch nemesis that were bad mouthing to regulators, say, hey guys, we need your fucking help?
In FTX's most recent tweet, it literally says that they slowed withdrawals and they're unwinding them. So I think they were literally like within an hour of completely declaring bankruptcy with having frozen everything already.
But how?
Well,
The market's
600
bottomed.
million. Well, 600 million came out of FTX yesterday and moved to Binance.
Fuck.